रञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपदान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नम ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन्निति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यस्य कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा। Welcome to the Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu Southern Division. We have been in the last few classes discussing the qualities of Krishna. There are the 64 qualities, and Rup Goswami has been giving definition to each of these qualities and also scriptural quotations. And these qualities, as I've been repeatedly mentioning, that one has to meditate on each of these qualities and dive deeper. There is Nam Smaran, Leela Smaran, Gun Smaran, Nam Kirtan, Rup Kirtan, Leela Kirtan. So Gun Kirtan is also there. So Nam Kirtan means doing the Kirtan of the holy names. Gun Kirtan means doing the Kirtan of Krishna's qualities. So the more we discuss these qualities of Krishna, the more we are going to attract those qualities within us also. And vice versa also, it is true that the more we focus on devotees' bad qualities, uh, they will not get affected, but you will start, acquiring those bad qualities. So that is how it's so important that uh, one should meditate on these qualities of Krishna, and especially the spiritual master also. Um, the spiritual master who is practicing pure devotion, all the qualities of the demigods, including the Lord, are manifested in his body. And it is said that one, when meditates on the qualities of the spiritual master, uh, he also, to a certain percentage, gets those qualities. So this is very, very important. And in the last few classes, if you remember, we have been discussing in detail these qualities. Yesterday, we discussed some of the qualities. We started with, I think, Prema Vasha. Prema Vasha is what the 40th one we started. And there Sarva Shubha Anka Shubhankara, Sarva Shubhankara, and then Pratapi. Pratapi means one who gives plain to others in an astonishing way. And then Kirtiman, one who's famous. And then Rakta Loka. Everyone is attracted to him. He's attracted to all people. And then there was Sadhu Samashraya. He is exclusive shelter of the sadhus. And Nari Gana Manohari. He is especially attracted to the woman. And then we saw Sarvaradhya. He is the worshipable among all. And Yudhishthira Maharaj in the Agra Puja, Krishna was worshipped there. We saw that also. And then Ishvara. And there are two things. One is one who's independent and one whose orders cannot be neglected. So for both the quotations, for both, Rupa Goswami gives quotations. And this is where we ended our discussion yesterday. So today, as I remember, if you can correct me, today we have to start with the 51st quality. Atha sadha swarupa sampraptah. Sada swarupa samprapto maya karyavashi kritah. He who is not controlled by Maya karyavasha kritah, or its effects is said to have a constant form. Sada swarupa samprapto. Because one who is controlled by Maya, the material world is a world of transformation. So the bodies are continuously transforming. So the Lord's body is Atma Maya. It is coming from his Swarup Shakti, from the spiritual internal potency. So he's not controlled by Maya. And that's why his form is eternal. Although, Krishna goes through this childhood form, Bala, Pauganda, and Kaishwarya, he's Nit Kishore. But the Bal Swarup also in Krishna Lila is also an eternal form. It's also an eternal form for those who are worshipping in the Vatsalya Ras. So the spiritual forms of the Lords are completely eternal and they are not controlled by Maya. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, uh, in the Sanatana Shiksha, it comes up that the Lord is Maya Adish and the Jivas are Maya Vash. They are controlled by Maya, whereas the Lord is controller of Maya. So let us see what example Rupa Goswami gives. Yatha pratame etad ishanam ishasya प्रकृतिस्तोऽपि तद्गुणे न युञ्जते सदात्मास्तेर् यथा बुद्धिस्तथाश्रय. This is the divinity of the personality of Godhead. Etad isham ishasya. He is not affected by the qualities of material nature. Tad gune na yunjate. Even though he is in contact with them, prakriti stopisa. Similarly, yatha, the devotees who have taken shelter of the Lord, sadhatma tadashraya, do not become influenced by the material qualities. They Buddhists. So those devotees also who take shelter of the Lord, they don't get influenced by Maya. Then what to speak of the Lord? Definitely the Lord is, although he seems to be in the material world, but he is beyond the material world. In the Bhagavad Gita also many times, Ajopi Sanna Avyatma, Ish, Ish, Ajopi Sanna Avyatma, Bhagavad Gita, I think it is 4.6. Yeah, Ajopi San Avyatma, Bhutanam Ishwaropi San, Prakritim Swam Adhishtaya Sambhavami Atma Maya. So many times in the Bhagavad Gita also it comes that how, Maya Dakshina Prakriti Suyate Sa Characharan. And then Upadrishtacha Anumantacha Bharta Bhokta Maheshwara Paramatma iti Chapyukta Dehespin Purusha Para. He is Dehespin Purusha Para. He is not affected, although he is there in the material world. There are many verses also in the Gita which emphatically prove that. I'll not go into all the details, but few verses I just quoted just for their reference. Okay, let's see Jeev Goswami's commentary on this. This verse explains the nature of lordship, Ishanam, of he who controls everything, Ishasya. The Lord is Ishasya, Ishavasyam idam sarvam. Maya karya vashi kritaha means one who is not controlled by Maya or its effects. The Lord is situated within Prakriti, either as a super soul or as an avatar, but is not contaminated, yunjate, by Prakriti's effects in the form of the threes gunas, sattva, rajas, tamas. So either in the form of super soul, I quoted 13.23 Upadrushtacha, and as an avatar, also I quoted 4.6. So both are, you know, valid. In contrast to this, the jiva are affected by the gunas through taking the role of the owners of it while being situated within it. So the jivas get affected because they want to become lords. So that's why they get affected. A comparison is given. It is just like the intelligence of the devotees who take shelter of the Lord. Yatha buddhi tada ashraya. Their intelligence also does not become contaminated. In this way, the Lord is shown to be always situated in his Sarup. Sada Sarupa Samprapta. So that is how Sada Sarup Samprapta is proved by this verse. He does not at all deviate from his form and qualities, which are actually the product of his Sarup Shakti. So I mentioned immediately that all these qualities and his actual nature, he cannot deviate because they are eternal. And that's why he is situated in his Sarup Shakti. This is another way of saying that he is not affected at all by Maya and its gunas. In the Bhagavatam, the Shrutis also say, I think it is the 10th canto, 87th chapter. The illusory material energy attracts the minute living entity to embrace her. Sa yad ajaya tva ajam. And as a result, he assumes forms composed of her qualities. Anushashita gunams cha jushan. Subsequently, he loses all his spiritual qualities, apaitya bhaga, and must undergo repeated deaths. Bhajati sarupatam tad anuvritim. You, Tvam, however, Uta, avoid the material energy, Jahasitam, in the same way that a snake abandons its old skin. Ari, Iva, Twacham, Atta Bhago. Glorious is your possessing. Glorious is your possession of eight mystic perfection. Mahasi, Mahisi, Ashtagunite. You enjoy unlimited opulences. Aparime Bhaga. So this is personified Vedas, Upanishads glorifying the Lord. So the illusory energy, Maya attracts the jivas, and as a result, they embrace Prakriti and take various forms, and that's how they lose their spiritual qualities and they go in the cycle of birth and death. But the Lord avoids material energy, and the example is that just a snake giving up its skin. So it's not getting affected at all. So that's why they glorify the Lord. Is your possession of eight mystic powers, and you enjoy unlimited opulences. Prabhupada. Prabhupada says as changeless. Krishna does not change his constitutional position even when he appears in the material world. Ordinary living entities have their constitutional spiritual positions covered. It is covered. They appear in different bodies and under the different bodily concepts of life, they act. But Krishna does not change his body. He appears in his own body and is therefore not affected by the modes of material nature. So which verse do you quote for this? As Prabhupada is stating here. Prabhupada is giving a further explanation, but which verse is apt to quote here to prove Prabhupada's statement here? Which verse you would like to quote? Anyone for this statement? He appears in his own body and is therefore not affected by the modes of material nature. Which verse of the Gita you can quote to substantiate this point of Prabhupada? Anyone? Yes, Birendra Yadav Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna bro, 4.6.
Yes, it is again 4.6 only. It's again 4.6. अजोपि सन् अव्यात्मा भूतानाम ईश्वरोपि प्रकृतिम स्वामधिष्ठाय सम्भवामि आत्ममायया आत्ममाया. So this is a very important verse. In the first canto, 11th chapter, verse 38 of Srimad Bhagavatam, it is stated that the special prerogative of the supreme control is that he is not at all affected by the modes of material nature. Prabhupada is quoting the same verse which Rup Goswami has quoted. Within that, he quotes the Upanishad pairs. The practical example of this is that devotees who are under the protection of the Lord are also not affected by material nature. To overcome the influence of the material nature is very difficult, but the devotees or the saintly persons who are under the protection of the Lord are not affected. Devi Yash Gunamaya Mama Maya Durataya. But Mahatma Anastumam Partha Devim Prakritim Ashrita. So what need is there to speak of the Lord himself? So I also made this, rhetoric point. So if the devotees who take shelter of the Lord are not influenced by Maya, then what to speak about the Lord? To be more clear, although the Lord sometimes appears in this material world, he has nothing to do with the modes of material nature and he acts with full independence in his transcendental position. This is the special quality of the Lord. Okay, 52. If you have any questions, you're free to raise your hands. Sarvagya. Parachitta sitam desh kaladya antaritam tatha yo janati samastartha sa sarvagyo nigaddate. He who is the embodiment of all things, yo samastartha and knows the situation within all hearts, tata janati antaritam parachitta stitam. Through all time and space, Desh Kaladya is called omniscient. Sarvagyo Nigiddate. Now, Krishna is all omniscient because he is present in the heart of every living being as Paramatma, and he enters even in the Anu, in the Paramahanu also. He enters even in the atoms. So everything is pervaded by the energy of the Lord. So he knows everything. He's Sarvagya. So partial omniscience, even great mystic yogis can attain, like Durvasa Muni, uh, came to know by omniscience that, you know, he had honored, Amrish had honored before his guest testicles. That's why he became angry. Then there is omniscience of Brahmaji. Brahmaji is omniscient about all the affairs in the 14 planetary systems. Higher omniscience is of Lord Shiva. He's omniscient in one sense because he's Maheshwar. Everything happening in all the universe is also in one sense because he's Sadashiv. He's the master of the material nature. And Durga is the mother. But nobody can come to the level of omniscience of Bhagwan. And that's why here the definition is very, very clear. He who's the embodiment of all things and knows the situation within all hearts through all time and space. To some time and maybe some space, there are other beings, as I was mentioning, Brahma and Shiva, but all time and all space, it's only Krishna. Okay, Yata Pratame. Yona Jugopavana Etya Duranta Krichat Durvashaso Rirachatat Ayutagra Bhugya Sakanan Shishtam Upayujya Yatastrilokim Triptam Amamsta Shalile Vinimagna Sangaha. Example is in the first canto. During our exile, Vana, Durvasa Muni, Durvasaso, who eats with his 10,000 disciples, Ayutagra Bhuk Yah, intrigued with their enemies, Ari Rachat, to put us in a dangerous trouble, Eta Duranta Krichad. At that time, Lord Krishna, simply by accepting the remnants of food, Shakannam, Shishtam Upayujya, saved us, na Jugopa. By his accepting food thus, Yatas, the assembly of Munis, Sangahe, while bathing in the river, Shalila, Vinimagna, felt sumptuously fed, a mamsta, and all the three worlds were also satisfied. Three lokatam. So I was giving the example of Duras Muni that he has partial omniscience to some degree, because he could understand that Amrish had broken the fast. So somehow I did not know this example is also here. So Krishna knew what was happening in the heart of Draupadi, how would he satisfy? And Krishna appeared there and he satisfied all the rishis by he himself. Yashmin tushte jagat tushta. This is the example given here. Let's see Jiva Goswami's commentary. This is the statement made by Arjuna in the first canto, 15th chapter. Krishna, knowing that we were doing austerities, since he knows everything, came to the forest and protected us Pandavas. From what did he protect us? He protected us from the difficulty, Krisham, of the curse which would be uttered by Durvasa and which would be difficult to avoid, Duranta. What type of curse? It was a curse arranged by the enemy of Duryodhan. Ari Rachitat. What was the nature of Durvasa? He would eat his meals along with his 10,000 sages. Ayuta gra book. Ayuta means 1,000. 10,000, sorry. He was invited to eat my Yudhishthir, who did not know that Draupadi had already eaten, and thus the pot could not supply any more food. Where did Durvasa go? Along with his followers, he went to bathe in the water. He stayed a long time in the water in order to complete his rituals. How did Krishna protect the Pandavas? Krishna ate a morsel of rice and spinach stuck to the pot. Well and good. But then what happened? Because Krishna was satisfied with that morsel, Durvasa, what to speak of his followers, felt that not only he, but all the three worlds were satisfied with food. So, Prabhupada, all cognizant. Any person who can understand the feelings of all persons and incidents in all places at all times is called all cognizant. Sometimes devotees, when they go through crisis or they go through troubles in their practice of Krishna consciousness, they are going through some kind of feelings, and it is difficult sometimes to express, and we don't have that kind of confidential devotees also whom we can share. But one thing we should remember, that Krishna understands what feelings we are going through. And that is why sometimes to come before the deities and confide our feelings is the best way to process those feelings sometimes. And we should always remember that whatever crisis, whatever feelings we are going through, Krishna understands. Krishna understands our attitude and our sincerity. And that's why we should also understand that whatever negative feelings also we are going through, that also Krishna understands. So that's why we should be very careful how we think, feel, and will for Krishna and his devotees. A nice example of all cognizant quality of the Lord is described in the Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto. So Prabhupada repeats the whole thing. So I will skip that. Nitya Nutanaha, 53. Any questions up till now? Any questions? Any clarifications? Okay. So we'll go to the next quality, quality number. Sada anubhuya भूयमानो पी करोति अन अन अनुभूतत्वात् अन अन अनुभूतवत् विषमयम माधुरीभिर यह स प्रोक्त नित्य नूतन. He who astonishes, यह स विस्मयम, by appearing to be previously unrelished. Karoti ana anubhutattavat, though he was already being relished. Sadha anubhuyamanopi, with his seed qualities, madhuri bir is called ever fresh. Prokta nitya nutana. So Krishna is nitya nutana. You relish Krishna's beauty for a moment, and his beauty expands. And you again keep on relishing, and it keep on going like this. So is Nitya Nutana. It's not that, oh, we have relished the beauty of Krishna now. Now, there is nothing more to relish, so maybe we can relish something else. No, it keeps on increasing and there is no end. Infinity it is. Yatha pratame. Yadyapyaso parshvagato raho gatas तथापि तस्साङ्घ्रि युगं नवं नवं पदे पदे का विरमते तत्पदाच्च चलापि यच्चेर न jahati karhichet. Although Lord Shri Krishna was constantly by their sides, yadyapi ashok paashvagato, as well as being exclusively alone, rahogatas, his feet appeared to them to be newer and newer. Tathapi tasangre yugam navam navam. The goddess of fortune, Shri, although always restless and moving, Chalapi Yach could not quit the Lord's feet. Na jahati karhichit. So what woman can be detached from those feet? Pade pade ka viramate, having once taken shelter of them. Tad padach. So this is again from the first canto, 11th chapter, the Queens of Dwarka. I think from that chapter it is. Let's see Jiva Goswami. The last line expresses that in Lakshmi there exists both fickleness and steadiness. She is chala, fickle, only in her secondary aspect. She is steady in being attached to the Lord's feet in her Swarup aspect. This illustrates the special greatness of Krishna's sweetness. Ever fresh, Prabhupada. Krishna is always remembered and his name is always chanted by millions of devotees, but the devotees never become saturated. So Prabhupada gives a different experience. We all have been chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. And sometimes, many devotees say that, Prabhuji, we are not making advancement. Then don't chant the holy name. Why are you chanting the holy name? Why are you continuing to chant the holy name? Because you are experiencing Krishna to some degree in your practice of Krishna consciousness. That's why once you take up the process, it's very difficult to give up the process. It's very easy to take up the process, but it is very difficult to give up the process because once you taste Krishna, then there is nothing to be tasted in this material world. So this uh, Shishashram first verse, Chaito darpanamarjanam bhava mahadavagani nirvapanam Shaya kairava chandrika vitaranam vidyavadurjivanam Anandambudivardhanam pratipadam purnamritaswadanam sarvatmastapanam param vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam Pratipadam Purnamrita Aswadanam. At every step, you're relishing, you know. So Prabhupada is giving that. Instead of becoming disinterested in thinking of Krishna and in chanting his holy name, the devotees get newer and newer impetus to continue to the process. Therefore, Krishna is ever fresh. Not only Krishna himself, but also Krishna's knowledge is ever fresh. Bhagavad Gita, which was imported 5,000 years, is still being read repeatedly by many, many men, and still new light is always being found in it. So, Bhagavad Gita also, every year you keep on studying it, you'll find newer and newer and newer light as you advance in your Krishna consciousness. Therefore, Krishna and his name, fame, qualities, and everything in relationship to him is ever fresh. All the queens at Dwarka were goddess of fortune. It is said in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Now Prabhupada is coming to the actual quotation explanation. Prabhupada gave some additional insight here about Nitya Nutana, about Krishna's name and Krishna's knowledge in the form of Bhagavad Gita. Now he is coming to the actual explanation of the quotation. First canto, 11th chapter, verse 33, that the goddess of fortune is very fickle and restless, so no one can consistently captivate them. Thus, one's luck will always change sometimes. Yet the goddess of fortune could not leave Krishna for even a moment when they were residing with him at Dwarka. This means that Krishna's attraction is ever fresh. Even the goddess of fortune cannot leave his company. Yathava Lalita Madhave. So he gives the second example. Oh, beautiful phrased friend Sumukhi, who is this expert craftsman Vishwakarma standing in front of us? Yugapat Ayam Apurva Kaha Purva Vishwakarma, breaking the stones of self-control in all the young women. Kulavara Tanu Dharma Grava Vrindani Bindan. With the tips of his long, sharp, chisel-like corners of his eyes, Nishita Dirghapanga Tanka Chatabhi, and simultaneously constructing a cow pen using millions of sapphires. Markatamani Lakshar Ghoshta Kaksham Chinoti. So this is again a Kavya Shastra. So it's a little difficult to understand what exactly Rupa Goswami is saying in the Lalit Madhav. Let us see if there is some explanation. Yes. This is a statement of the Queen of Vrindavan Radha who would relish Krishna at every moment. Because of the strength of the expression in the verse, it is understood that she experienced Krishna in increasingly unique ways. Thus, the verse is used as an example of ever freshness. Chata means a fine tip. The word is also found in the phrase Shata Chati Bhinna Ghana, solid with a fine tip from Shishupal Vada. Kaksha means an enclosure according to Amar Kosh. The fence appears to be made of sapphires because of the rays emanating from Krishna's blackish body. But there is something remarkable here in Krishna. While doing the difficult work of constructing a cow pen out of sapphires, so it appears, he simultaneously breaks the stones of self-control of the gopis. The hint here is that it is not intentional on his part to break the gopis' dharma. Okay, I really also have no idea much about what is the context in the whole pastime being explained in the Lalita Madhava. But let us see what Prabhupada has to say. Regarding Krishna's attractive feature being ever fresh, there is a statement by Radharani in the Lalit Madhav in which Krishna is compared to the greatest sculptor because he is expert in chiseling the chastity of the women. So this is the comparison. In other words, although chaste women may follow the rules and regulations of Vedic principles to become ever faithful to their husbands, Krishna is able to break their stone-like chastity with a chisel of his beauty. So this is the metaphor and the comparison. Most of the girlfriends of Krishna were married, but because Krishna was their friend before their marriages, they could not forget his attractive features, which were always fascinating to them even after their marriages. Okay, 54. Sachidananda Sandrangah. Sachidananda Sangrandash. Chidananda Ghanakriti. He who has a form thoroughly composed of knowledge and bliss, with no contamination of other elements, Chidananda Ganakriti, is called Sachidananda Sandranga. Sachidananda Sandrangash. The Lord is called Sat, existence, because he exists at all times and space. Yoyam kalastaste vyakt bando cheshtam ahus. O inaugurator of material energy, this wonderful creation works under the control of powerful time, which is divided into seconds, minutes, hours, and years. This element of time, which extends to many millions of years, is but another form of Lord Vishnu. Sat means existence. So this is a verse which is being quoted for that. Na chantar na bairyas na purvam chapi chaparam. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Yasya, has no beginning and no end. No exterior, na bahir, no interior, na chantar, no front and rear, no purvam, na chaparam. In other words, he is all pervading. 10, 9, 13. So two verses as quotation he gives for Sat. The Lord is called Chit because he is conscious entity rather than inert matter, because he alone reveals himself, which matter cannot do and which jivas cannot do. Now again a quotation for Chit. धावत् सर्वे वत्सपाला पश्यतो जस्य तत्क्षणात् व्यादृश्यन्ते घनश्यामः पीतः कौशेयः वासस. Then Tavat, while Lord Brahma looked on, Pashyato Jasya Ajasya, all the calves and boys tending them, Sarve Vatsapala, immediately appeared. Tat Shanat Vyadrishyanta, to have complexions which were color of bluish rain clouds, Ghanashama, and to be dressed in yellow silken garments. Pita Kaushe Vasaha. This is in the Brahma Vimohan Lila. The calves and the boys, Krishna, transformed themselves and were seen by Brahma to be bluish. The form is reflexive, passive. So, Rupam Asya na chakshusha pashyanti kaschanenam. No one can see Pashyati kaschanenam, that form with material eyes. Rupam Asya na chakshu, Katha Upanishads. Yam eveshi vrinoti tena labhyas taseva ta atma vivrinoti tanum swam. He is attained by persons, tena labhyas, whom he chooses. Yam eveshi vrinoti. He reveals his form to that person. Taseva atma vivrinoti tanum swam. This is from the Mandukya Upanishads. And also this verse is there in the Shvetashar Upanishads. Naham atma pravachanena na bahuda shrutena na meda. And then the last line is this. So for the chit, ultimately he has to reveal himself. So Brahma Vimohan Leela is one quotation. Then these two quotations are from the Upanishads. He is called Ananda because of being composed of completely of unmixed prema. Kim etad adbhutam iva vasudeva kilatmani vrajasya satmanas tokeshu apurvam prema vardate. What is this wonderful phenomenon? Kim etat adbhutam, the affection of all the inhabitants of Vrajasya, including me, Sa Atmanas, towards these boys and calves, Tokeshu, is increasing as never before. Apurvam prema vardate, just like our affection for Lord Krishna. Iva Vasudeva, the super soul of all living beings. Akila Atmani. So this is again Balram, I think, speaking. The Shruti says, Anandam Brahmano Rupam. The form of Brahman is bliss. So one quotation from the Bhagavatam. The second quotation is from the Shrutis, Upanishads. The word Sandra is used to indicate being uncontaminated with any other element. This is expressed as follows. He is uncontaminated by any other elements. Mayam tatam idam sarvam jagatavyaktamurti. Maya tadam idam sarvam jagatavyaktamurtina. Matstani sarvabhutani. Na chaham teshu avastita. By me, Maya, in my unmanifested form, tatam avyakt murtina, this entire universe is pervaded. Idam sarvam jagat. All beings are in me. Matstani sarva bhutani. But I am not contaminated by them. Na chaham teshu avasthita. So this shows that he is uncontaminated. This 9.4 verse. Chidananda Ganakriti has the same meaning as Chidananda Sandranang. So both mean the word. The word Sat is not used in the phrase because it is implied by the mention of the existence in its various forms. Sadakriti, Ghanakriti it is mentioned, and it means the same basically. Okay, Prabhupada, Sachidananda. Krishna's transcendental body is eternal, full of knowledge and bliss. Sat means ever existing for all time and in all places. In other words, all pervading in time and space. Chit means full of knowledge. Krishna has nothing to learn from anyone. He is independently full of all knowledge. Anand means the reservoir of all pleasure. The impersonalists are seeking to merge into the Brahman effulgence of the eternity and knowledge, but the major portion of the absolute pleasure which is in Krishna is avoided by them. One can enjoy transcendental blissfulness of merging into the Brahman effulgence after being freed from the contamination of material illusion, false identification, attachment, detachment, and material absorption. These are the preliminary qualifications of a person who can realize Brahman. It is stated in the Bhagavad Gita that one has to become full of joyfulness. This is not exactly joyfulness, but a sense of freedom from all anxieties. So Prabhupada is explaining about Brahmananda, how it is inferior. Freedom from all anxieties may be the first principle of joyfulness, but it is not actual joyfulness. Those who realize the self or become Brahma Bhuta are not only preparing themselves, are only preparing them, are only preparing themselves for a platform of joyfulness. That joyfulness can be achieved only when one comes in contact with Krishna. So this is not a state of joyfulness. It is just a preparation, just mere negation of material anxieties. There is no positive uh, uh, bliss attained. It's only negation of material miseries. Ah, this is a relief. No more death, no more birth, no more gross and subtle bodies. So that is a bliss we experience that. So it's a preparation for the platform of joyfulness, and real joyfulness is in the association of Krishna. Krishna consciousness is so complete that it includes the transcendental pleasure derived from the impersonal Brahman realization. Even the impersonalist will become attracted to the personal form of Krishna known as Shyam Sundar. Atma Rama Shamunyo Nirgrantya Urukrame Ittam Bhuta Guna Hari. Such are the wonderful qualities of Hari that even the Atmarams get attracted. Parinishthito api nirgunya. Parikshit Maharaj also says in the second canto. Uttama shloka leelaya grihita chetarishi rajarishi akyanam yad aditavan. So this is there in the second canto, first chapter, maybe seventh or eighth or ninth verse. So even the Atmarams are attracted to Krishna. That's the point. Yatha, another verse. Who is that person standing before us? Tad Vyartakan Kaha Purato, revealing a human form. Prakashate Narakriti, black in color, full of bliss. Shamo M. Amoda Bhara, who even covers the happiness of Brahman. Yad Brahma Saukyam Swayam Aspurat Param, which appears spontaneously after the five types of suffering have been discerned. Klesha Kramat Panchavida Shayam Gate. So the five types of kleshas, sufferings are, anyone knows which are the five types of kleshas? Let us see. Who knows which are the five types of kleshas here being referred? Anyone knows which are the five types of kleshas when one is freed, which is being discussed? Yes, Sudhanshu, Prabhuji.
So is this avidya, asmita, rag, dvesh, abhinivesh?
Yes, exactly. Very good. Avidya, Asmita, Rag, Dvesh, and Abhinivesh. Or sometimes it is called as Rag Abhinivesh, Dvesh Abhinivesh, and Abhinivesh. So these are the five types of kleshas. This is being referred here. Okay. Let us see what is the commentary on this. This is the second. Prabhupada is already mentioned. Yes, you can see here. The five types of suffering are ignorance, false identity, attraction, hatred, and clinging to life, abhinivesh. These are mentioned in the Yoga Sutras 2.3 of Patanjali. Vyarthayan means covering. Or there is another example. Yatha va Brahma Samitayam Adi Purusha Rhase. Yasya prabha prabhavato jagadanda koti कोटिष्वशेषवसुधादि विभूति भिन्नम तद ब्रह्म निष्कलम अनंतम अशेष भूतम गोविंदमादि पुरुषम तम अहम भजामि. I worship the Supreme Lord Govinda, Govindamadi Purusham Tam Aham Bhajami, whose powerful form disperses an effulgence known as undifferentiated, unlimited, all encompassing Brahman. Tad Brahma Nishkalam Ananta Sheshbhutam, which is overshadowed by the unlimited powers of the Lord displayed in unlimited planets throughout billions of universes. Yasya Prabhava Prabhato Jagadanda Koti. Previously, this Brahma Samhita verse was quoted in the commentary on 1.2.278 to demonstrate that the impersonal Brahman is non-different from Krishna in the manner that light and the sun are non-different. Though the Brahman has been explained as the effulgence of the Lord, it should be understood to be just the Lord's vibhuti or power. The Shruti also confirms. Yasya avyakta shariram yo avyakam sancharan yam avyaktam sa veda sa esha sarvabhutantaratma divyo deva eko narayana. Narayan is the one spiritual Lord, Divya Deva Eko Narayan, the soul of all beings, Sarv Bhuta Antaratmana, whose body is the unmanifest Brahman. Yasya Avyakta Shariram, who pervades the Brahman, Yo Avyakam Sancharan, whom no one knows as the Brahman. Yam Avyaktam Naveda, Shubhala Upanishads. So it's just the Lord's vibhuti here. This verse proves that. Bhagavad Gita says, Brahmano Pratishtaham. No. Yasma Shara Atitoham Aksharadapi Chottamam Atosmi Loka Vedecha Pratita Purushottama. Because I am superior to the Jivas, to the impersonal Brahman, and to the Purush known as Paramatma. Atitoham Aksharad Api Chottama. And even to other forms of Bhagwan. Api Chottama. I am celebrated in the Vedas and the Smritis. Atasmi Loke Vedecha Pratita, as a supreme person, Purushottam. So the Lord is superior to the Jivas, superior to impersonal Brahman, superior to the three Purushas, and superior to all other Bhagwan forms. And that's why he's Purusha Uttama. Among all the Purushas are all Bhagwans. He is the Uttama, the topmost. Also in the 11th canto of Bhagavatam states that Brahman is a vibhuti of the Lord, indicated by the word Param in the verse. पृथ्वी वायुर आकाश आपो ज्योतिर अहम महान विकार पुरुषो अव्यक्तम रजसत्वम तम परम aham I in the form of taste, form, aroma, touch and sound, false ego, the mahatattva, earth, water, fire, air and sky, the living entity, material nature, the modes of goodness, passion and ignorance, and the Brahman, Param. So here in the 11th canto, Uh, the Brahman is considered as a vibhuti of the Lord. In the commentary of Sridhar, it is mentioned that Param means the Brahman. Prabhupada. It is confirmed by the statement of the Brahma Samhita that the Brahman effulgence is the bodily ray of Krishna. The Brahman effulgence is simply an exhibition of the energy of Krishna. Krishna is source of Brahman effulgence as he himself confirms in the Bhagavad Gita. Brahmano Pratishta Aham. From this, we can conclude that the impersonal feature of the absolute truth is not the ultimate end. Krishna is the ultimate end of the absolute truth. Okay, this is the next verse. Atah Shri Vaishnave Sarvasuti Spriti Nirdarshane Tad Brahma Shri Bhagavato Vibhutir Iti Kriyate. So another verse Rupa Goswami has composed further explaining this previous quotation of how the Brahman effulgence is the vibhuti of the Lord. Thus, the Sri Vaishnavas, Ata Sri Vaishnave, who have taken into account all the Shruti and Smriti statements, Sarva Shruti Smriti Nirdarshini, say that Kriyate, this Brahman is the Vibhuti of Bhagavan. Tad Brahma Shri Bhagavato Vibhutir iti. So even the Sri Vaishnavas admit, after taking into consideration, studying all the Shruti and Smritis, that Brahman is the Vibhuti of Bhagavan. Interesting statement. Okay. Yes, Birendra Yadav Prabhuji. Yes.
So, Brahman is Vibhuti of Bhagwan, and
Haribol.
so Brahman is one aspect of Bhagwan. We have seen earlier in
Yes.
Bhagavatam.
Yes.
And Brahman as Vibhuti of Bhagwan. Is there any contradiction in this statement?
Well, there is no contradiction. There's the Brahman aspect of the absolute truth, there's the Paramatma aspect and the Bhagavan aspect. And Brahman is here being proved by Rupa Goswami by himself quoting, and then, other sampradaya like Sri Vaishnava Sampradaya also, that it is considered, the Brahman is considered as the effulgence, is considered as a vibhuti of the Lord. Now, this is also a new understanding for me. And I just go by the statement of what Rupa Goswami is saying. So maybe we'll have to further delve and ask some of the sannyasis how this is so. But I accept the statement that how it is a vibhuti, it needs some deliberation, which I cannot say much about it now. But Rupa Goswami is proving here that Brahman is an aspect of the absolute truth, but it is considered as a vibhuti of Bhagavan. It is considered as a vibhuti of Bhagavan.
Right.
Okay. Yes, Vinita Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. It was a
Yes.
similar question what Prabhuji asked, but in additional one point, in simple
Now,
language.
can you speak a little clearly because your voice is breaking?
Yes, Prabhuji. My question was on similar lines that Prabhuji asked. And an additional point that how do we understand Vibhuti in simple language?
How do we understand?
Vibhuti in simple language.
Oh, vibhuti in simple language. So there is, in the 10th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, what is called as the Vibhuti Yoga. Yad yad vibhuti mat sattvam shrimat urjit eva va tat eva. No, that verse is there. So vibhuti means vishesha bhuti. And Krishna in the Vibhuti Yoga explains that how among the many, that one, I am that one, like among all the trees, I am Ashwata, he says. Ashwata uh, tree has a special attraction. We have seen that. So whatever attractive feature you see in this world, actually it is some potency of the Lord is there in that, and that's why it is attracting us. And it is a manifestation, like among all the great rishis, I am so and so, he says. Among the Pandavas, I am Arjuna. Doesn't mean that Arjuna and Krishna are one. That's not the mind, because he's manifesting certain qualities of Bhagwan to some degree. So that attracts among the uh, Maruts. There are different kinds of airs, 49 different kinds, and Marut is the chief air. So he's a chief leader and he's special. So I am Marut, Krishna identifies. So like among beauty, like that. Whatever Vishesh Bhutis you see in this world, all are coming from Krishna. And that's why they should lead us to Krishna. And that's why through the Vibhuti Yoga, Krishna is explaining how we should connect to him. So here also it is mentioned that Brahman is also a Vibhuti of Krishna. That's the point being made. Okay, so where are we now? Yeah, Atashi Vaishnavanam. So its time is up. I'll just see what the commentary is there on this verse and then we'll conclude. Though the Sri Vaishnavas say that the word Brahman denotes Bhagwan and do not accept the existence of a separate impersonal Brahman, it should be understood here that another opinion has been accepted and is stated here. That's it. The members of the Vaishnava schools therefore never try to merge into the Brahman effulgence in their pursuit of spiritual perfection. They accept Krishna as the ultimate goal of self-realization. Therefore, Krishna is called Parabrahman, the Supreme Brahman, or Parameshwar, the Supreme Controller. Tata hi Yamunacharya Stotra. Now, to prove that, Rupa Goswami quotes another verse from the Yamunacharya Stotra. This is from the Stotratna. Thus, Yamunacharya states in his Stotra, Tata hi Yamunacharya Stotra. O Bhagwan, the universe and within the universe, all the elements starting with the earth, Yad Andaranta Gocharam Chayat, with coverings and dimensions increasing by 10 times with each covering, Dashutrani Avarnani Yanicha, followed by the three gunas, Guna Pradhanam, the totality of Jivas, Purusha, Prakriti, Paratparam, Vaikunta, Parampadam, and the Brahman, Brahmacha, are all your vibhutis, te vibhutaya. So here is the Praman from the Shiva Vaishnava scriptures that, all these universes also are a vibhuti of Krishna. This, Krishna Atava Bhaute Neva Kim Gyate Varjuna Vishtabhyam, Ekamshena Sito Jagat. I don't recollect the full verse. I think it is 10.42. 10.42. अथवा बहुनेतेन किम ज्ञातेवन तवार्जुन विष्टभ्यम अहम idam krishnam ekamshena sito jagat. So as the Purusha avatars, Mahavishnu, he's just my amsha and amsha, he's just a part of mine. So he's also considered as a vibhuti of the Lord. So here you can see this Yamunacharya Stotratna, Sri Vaishnavas also accept even Brahman as a vibhuti of the Lord. They are all vibhutis. The universe and within the universe, the sense objects, Gochara, are your vibhutis. The coverings of the universe made of the elements, each 10 times thicker than the previous coverings, are your vibhutis. The totality of jivas are your vibhutis. Vaikunta, Parampadam is your vibhuti. The Brahman also is said to be considered a particular manifestation with lack of qualities under the control of the Lord in all cases. Prabhupada, Sri Yamunacharya has praised as follows. My dear Lord, I know that the gigantic universe and the gigantic space and time within the universe are covered by the 10 layers of the material elements, each layer 10 times larger than the previous one. The three material modes of nature, Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, the Kshirodakshaya Vishnu, the Mahavishnu, and beyond them the spiritual sky and its spiritual planets known as Vaikuntas and the Brahman effulgence in that spiritual sky, all of these taken together are nothing but a small exhibition of your potency. Okay, so that, two verses are further explanation about how Brahman is a vibhuti of the Lord. Now 55, Sarva Siddhi Nishevita. Nisevita. This we will take up in the next class. So any questions, any clarifications up till now? So we have come to 55 qualities. Another 11 qualities, and another 9 qualities. Total 10, I think, 55 to 64. 10 qualities, which will take probably another one more class. And then further, we will go into our discussion of the Vibhav. We are actually in the Vibhav now, especially in the Vishaya Alamban of the qualities of Krishna. Further, we'll discuss this subject in detail. Maybe it will take another, because a lot of quotations Jiva Goswami is giving for all these qualities. So it will take another 2 classes. Yes, it will take another 2 classes. So we will finish this qualities in 2 classes and further discuss, continue our discussion. Yes, Birendra Yadav Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, in the last Jiva Goswami's commentary, there was a mention that totality of Jiva, Purusha is your view. So here Purusha, it is referred to the 3 Gunavatars.
Yes, the Purushas refer to the 3 Purusha avatars, Shirodakshaya Vishnu, Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, and Karanodakshaya Vishnu. It refers to them.
Right, right.
Okay, so we'll stop here. श्री भक्ति रसामृत सिंधु की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय, श्री रूप गोस्वामी पाद की जय। हरे कृष्णा।